Hi, I'm Tony Van Veen, CEO of Discmakers. There's a potentially big shakeup coming to the independent distribution space, and you should know about it. I'm talking a big money deal and perhaps a loss of independence for one of the big three distributors. So, what's going on? As you know, if you're an independent artist, in the independent music distribution space for DIY artists, there are three major players who are heads and shoulders above everyone else: TuneCore, CD Baby, and DistroKid. TuneCore was acquired by French music company Believe in 2015 for a reported $40 million. CD Baby, which was Discmakers' sister company for 10 years, was acquired by Downtown Music Holdings in 2019 for a reported $200 million. And DistroKid is part owned by several private equity firms, including Insight Partners and Silversmith Capital, and Spotify actually owns a small sliver as well. Those equity investments a couple of years ago gave DistroKid a whopping valuation of $1.3 billion. Clearly, these companies have grown so big that they've become worth a lot of money to their shareholders. So, what's going on right now? In March of this year, Warner Music Group, the smallest of the three major labels, announced they were considering paying $1.8 billion to buy Believe, the company that owns TuneCore. After looking into the numbers, Warner decided to pass on the acquisition. I don't know why, whether the financials looked less impressive than they thought, or more likely, the price was just a bit too steep for what they were going to end up getting. Now, there has been consolidation in the music distribution space for years. Way back in 2012, Sony bought a 51% stake in The Orchard, which up to that point had been independent, for $100 million. Then in 2015, they bought the rest of the company for an additional $200 million. In 2019, Universal Music Group bought independent distributor Ingrooves for around $100 million. And more recently, in 2021, Sony acquired AWAL, which was an independent distributor owned by Cobalt, for over $400 million. That's a lot of big money deals. Now, after passing on Believe and TuneCore, Warner Music has announced that they hired a big-time investment banker away from Goldman Sachs to pursue growth through acquisitions, and they are in the market for an independent distributor. And who are the big distributors left after Warner passed on TuneCore? CD Baby and DistroKid. Now, before you panic, there's no certainty Warner will make a deal for either of those companies. There are many smaller distributors, including 1RPM, Amuse, Symphonic, United Masters, and many more, any of which could be part of a deal. Why is Warner looking to buy an independent distributor? It's a market share play. The Warner Music Group can instantly pick up a couple of percentage points of market share if they bought one of the large digital distributors and tuck them into their stable of brands. Which is why my assumption is that Warner will first look at the two big guys left standing. And each of these could get a valuation of $1 billion or more. DistroKid was already valued at over $1 billion at their last funding round, and CD Baby, with its sizable sister companies Fuga and Downtown Music Services, which was formerly called Dashco, could also fetch a big number. So, what would it mean if DistroKid or CD Baby were owned by a major and no longer independent? On the upside, it is theoretically possible that with the insights that a label like Warner might have into which indie artists are growing rapidly, that it could mean that a small handful of artists would be upstreamed and signed to a label deal at Warner, or more likely at one of their affiliated labels like Rhino or Atlantic or Sire Records, which would be cool for a few artists, but wouldn't mean anything for the vast majority. On the downside, if you look at what happened after Sony bought The Orchard, the focus of that company shifted quickly to larger independent artists and labels, and small artists were by and large shut out of getting distribution through The Orchard. Could that happen to you if your music is currently on CD Baby or DistroKid? I'd say it's probably unlikely. These indie distributors drive so much of their revenue from true DIY artists that any wholesale shift away from that market is not likely to happen, at least not for the next few years. So What should you do now for your music? Or what should you do for your next release? My advice? Just keep doing what you're doing. The fact that Warner is looking to make a deal doesn't mean that a deal will happen in the near future. And we have no idea, if a deal even happens, who the acquired party will be. So keep your music on CD Baby or DistroKid or Symphonic or Ditto or Amuse or wherever you have it. And follow what's happening in the distribution space by reading newsletters like Music Business Worldwide or Digital Music News or Hypebot. Do you have a thought on this development and what it might mean? Leave a comment below. I'll see you next time.